Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our brand new channel, QA Simplified. So, thank you all for giving a very good response for our previous video regarding basics of software testing and the flow of the testing methodologies. So, in previous lecture, we have go in brief about the introduction of the IT field, how software testing it take place and why it is most important part of the IT industry. So once again, thank you very much for giving that huge response to our first video. So this video is the second part of the series of software testing. So in current video we will talk about the what is SDLC. So SDLC means the software development life cycle, and we will break it down in the different phases and know how it will be relevant in our IT industry and how it may relate it to the software testing. Okay, so let's begin with our topic. So what is SDLC? So I think before start SDLC, we need to know what are the stakeholders are there in any IT project. So who is the primary person, who is the product owner, who is the tester, who is the developer, and what is a team. So basically, whenever we are going to deliver or design or implement any of the particular application, so at that time the team of people came in picture. So whenever any company took any project, so at that time uh, they will prepare one team who will exclusively work on any of the project. So in any project we have few stakeholders. So first is a product owner. Product owner means the person who gathers the requirement from the client or the customer. Then second person came in picture, which is a developer. Developer refers to the person who is actually developing a code based on the customer requirement. The third and most important person is the tester or quality analyst, who will check and balance the code whatever developed by the developer by manual or automation testing, or maybe using the performance testing. So based on that, he will make sure the quality of the code or the quality of the application. And also few more stakeholders are there, just like the scrum master. So whenever we implement any particular application or particular project, so at that time for managing the project we have a scrum master. So scrum master, what scrum master did, so scrum master did to organize the project. So in details of the what is the scrum master's role, what is the role of business analyst, what is the role of a developer, and what is the role of a tester, that we will learn briefly in our upcoming lecture related to the methodologies that we will implement in our project, just like agile, scrum, lean kanban, waterfall model. So related to that topic, we will cover briefly about the everyone's role. So you have a clear idea, I think, about what are the peoples are involved in the any project implementation on the high level. Okay, so to implement that particular application from the basic level. So for that, we are defining a certain the procedure. So standard procedure is called as software development lifecycle. So software development lifecycle means from the start of the software means its initial information gathering to the handovering to the end user and getting the feedback from the end user. So that whole process is come under the software development lifecycle. So it is a step-by-step process that guides how software is planned, developed, tested, and released. So it is a standard process in which we will see how the software testing process is getting planned, how we are developing that particular application, how we are defining the quality metrics, and how we are delivering to the end user. So we can say it helps the team to deliver high quality software effectively, systematically, and more efficiently to the end user with proper user experience. Okay, just like think of it like it is a building a house. So in building house, every step matters from designing to construction to the final inspection. For example, if we have building any home, like if you are building your own home, so at that time from the initial planning, like what is the cost estimation, how we are planning, how we are designing our home, just like are we requiring like 1 BHK or 2 BHK. So it is came under the development of that particular home, or what are the construction equipments, what are the construction procedures are follow, and at the end is we are checking the quality of the house. Okay, so this same kind of process we are following in our software industry, that is called as a software development life cycle. So related to that particular uh, example of building house, so you will relate exactly to the software industry. So for example, if you are building a home, so at that time you are giving some of the requirement to the builder, like I want 1 BHK home and I have requirement like that. I need it under 2000 square foot or 1000 square foot. So in that particular case, we are acting as a client and we are giving instruction to the builder, like whatever output we have needed from the builder, like the how end result should be look like, means how or what type of home we will need. So based on that, what builder did the proper planning based on our budget and our estimation. So he will make a proper plan. So based on that, he will construct a building based on his methodologies. After that, he will check and balances, like it is what is the quality of the product and how we are delivering the particular task. So same thing we will follow in the SDLC. So I think you will get an proportionate idea about I am exactly talking about which reference, like software development lifecycle. We are discussing about how software becomes getting developed. Okay, so let's talk one by one. Uh, which are the steps are involved in the software development lifecycle. So on my screen, you can see there are six components in the software development lifecycle. First one is a planning. You are seeing in the top most corner. It is a planning, then the analysis, then design, then development, then testing, and then deployment. Okay, so each phase in the software development life cycle is necessary and important in the developing the software. Okay, so we will go one by one, just like first step is the planning. So in planning, we will considering the requirement gathering and its analysis. Okay, so for example, to plan anything, we have to have some requirement from the client. Like we have seen an example, like we are giving the details to the builder, like how exactly we need uh, our particular 1,000 square foot house. So in the same way, in software industry, the client or the client is giving the requirement to our company, just like uh, how they will need the application, what is the exact output from this application. So based on that, the product owner or the business analyst is taking the requirement from the client. So exactly what they want. So based on that, they will prepare the BRS document. So what is the BRS document? BRS document is the business requirement document. So business requirement document means what? So what exactly the client wants. So whenever, uh, for example, whenever you will go to any shop for buying any vehicle, so at that time, at the initial discussion, so that vehicle seller giving you one brochure. So in that, high level is written like exactly how HP or how much CC engine has that particular bike. So what is exactly specifications of that bike, like how much mileage it has given. So that document is related to our BRS document. So exactly what customer want, that is exactly mentioned in the BRS document. And functional doc based on that business requirement document, uh, our product owner makes the SRS document. SRS document is nothing but system requirement document. Okay, so in system requirement document, every minute details is mentioned. Like uh, in BRS document, exactly they have written like the engine has 750 HP. Okay, but in SRS document, exactly what is written in SRS document, they have written in details like how the design of that particular engine, how exactly pistons and other cylinders are used. So in minute details is given in the SRS document. Okay, so that is related to the SRS document, which is given to the internal team of the company for the understanding to developer and tester. So whenever the requirement is getting finalized by the client, so that requirement is converted into BRS and SRS document, and that both documents is given to the internal team of developers and testers. So whenever they given this document to the internal team, at that time they will did a small review between the developer, testers, and other stakeholders to check whether this document it is correct, or if anyone has any doubts regarding the requirements, then that doubt should be resolved by the product owner. Okay, if you have any queries, you can ask to the product owner related to that requirement. Okay, so that is came under the requirement gathering and analysis. So once that requirement gathering and analysis is completed in the planning and analysis phase, after that this requirement is given to the actual implementation team, which consists of development team as well as testing team. Okay, so here you can see. Once the requirement gathering is completed and planning is completed, complete here we can see the system design. So system design, in system design we will review the documents. As a tester we would review the documents and define the test strategy. Okay, and at the same time in the design phase, developer defines the structure of the application. Like in the high level, uh, they will implement the borderline of the application, just like they are maintaining the high level modules which are going to develop, and also done architecture by the senior developers. They will make the technical data flows and flow chart. Also in their designing process, they will describes how each and every feature in the product should work and how every component should work. And also it contains a detailed description of each and every module and component. Okay, so based on that designing, the next phase is development. Okay, so in development what exactly happen? So in development the developer done this coding to implement the end result of the application. So in that the senior and junior developers are included in this process, where we start building a software and start writing the code for each of the products. Okay, so based on each functionality, developer implements the code, and once they have completed their development, they will test it internally and deploy on the QA environment. So in this testing phase, QA comes in the picture. Okay, so in that phase, QA will do thorough testing based on the requirements that we have took from the product owners. Okay, and they will check and balance whether uh, the application is working properly according to acceptance criteria or whatever the requirement is given by the client. Okay, that all in-depth testing is done in the testing phase. And in deployment, once a QA team will give a sign off on the QA environment, then the application is ready for the UAT and production. So on high level, UAT and production are the higher environment than QA. Means UAT means user acceptance testing. In UAT, the client actually should perform their verification on the application once we are deployed. In the UAT, once we have received sign off from the client, then we will deploy the code in the production. Production means the live environment where actual end users can use the application. Okay, so that is came under the deployment phase, where tester is came in the picture of doing smoke and the sanity testing. Okay, that type of testing you and us uh, describe in upcoming lectures. So each term related to testing that we will cover in the upcoming lectures. Just you can focus on the what is the structure of the SDLC process, means what is the software development life cycle. Okay, so we will cover land balance. So we have covered like what is the requirement gathering and analysis, how system is getting designed by the developers, then how the code implementation is happen. After that we will do a testing, then the deployment phase, and last one is a maintenance phase. So what is the maintenance phase? Whenever the application goes in the live, at that time if end user found any defect or any issue while using the application, so at that time that defect is took as a hot fix on the production environment. So at that time, within the minimal time, we will provide them the fix. Okay, so that is called as a maintenance. So whenever we give a delivery, after that, if we will found a defect in the application, so that is came under the maintenance. Okay, so let's go one by one. So what is the exactly role of tester in the software development lifecycle? So that we will go in brief. Okay, so we have covered like the requirement gathering phase. So in requirement gathering, as you will know, like in requirement gathering, the product team or the product owner or the business analyst give the briefing about the requirement that is came from the client. So at that time, what is the role of the QA? The QA's role is the to understand each and every requirement that is given in the BRS and ASRS document. And if there are any doubts, then they will take initiative and ask the question based on the requirement in the requirement gathering. Okay, so in the next phase, that is system design. So in the role of the whenever in system design, we know like the developer team is going to plan their development works, like they are designing their architecture, their high level modules. So in this same phase, testing team is doing the reviewing of their test documents. They are defining their test strategy. They are planning their efforts for the particular implementation. Okay, so in implementation phase, developer team start the actual coding. So at the same time, QA team starts preparing their test cases, preparing their test data, preparing their test environments. They are preparing the test environment credentials. They are wholly setuping their test procedures in the implementation phase. Okay, and in the next phase, that is a testing phase. So in actual testing phase, what tester is doing whatever test cases they have written in the uh, earlier phase. They are just executing the test cases, reporting bugs, verify if the bugs is getting fixed. They are re-verifying that issues. They are checking the impacted area. If the bug is getting fixed, then they are marking it as a pass. So that particular things we will see in upcoming lectures in details. So you don't have an take worry about this concept. So each and every concept we will discuss in our upcoming lectures. So here you can just focus on the flow of the software development lifecycle. Okay. So next phase is a deployment. So as we know, in deployment phase, what we are doing pushing the codes in upper environment, just like UAT and production. So at that time, what tester do? So whenever the deployment is done, so initial level of smoke and sanity testing means the application is working or not in the higher environment. That initial checks is done by the QA team. So in smoke and sanity, what we are checking in the we are checking the stability of builds, and high level we are checking the functional areas of the application. Just like for example, if we have one payment related application, so what we are doing in the sanity testing, we are checking whether the main purpose of that payment application is to perform a payment. So we are checking that payment is getting successful or not. So that high level checks we are did in the smoke and sanity testing. And at the end we have the maintenance. So as we discussed, maintenance is came in picture whenever the any issues came in the production environment, whenever the application is live, means it is available for use of the end user. So at that time, if any bug is came in the production. So at that time, if developer gives a fix, so at that time we will check that bugs and their impacted area. We will do proper retesting, regression testing, means the checking of that bugs impacted area, as well as checking that patches, that if there are multiple bugs, then we are checking the multiple patches, means that particular functional area is it working according to our requirement or not, like that. So that is our full flow of the SDLC, like how software development life cycle is going to work. Okay. So for your understanding, we will take a real life example of the food delivery app. Like here you can see in food delivery app, in the requirement phase, what is came in requirement phase, features like order track and pay that is needed from the client. So that requirement we will get from the client, we will discuss about their pros cons, then how we will going to implement, that is came under the requirement. And in design, the UI and backend planning should happen in the design, just like how we are going to implement the UI, how we are going to implement the database means how, how whatever data of the application or a client that we are storing in the SQL or any of the .NET or any of the JavaScript, so that we are defining in the design phase. So in implementation, what we are doing, what in implementation high level, we are building the code and started the application functionality planning in the testing phase. Okay. And in testing, what we are actually doing in testing, we are validating the developers deployed code on the QA environment. We are not directly checking the code, but we are validating the end result that is displayed on the UI. Okay, UI means user interface. Just like whenever we click on any application, the one window is open. So that window is called as a user interface. That is directly communicated to the end user. Okay, and in deployment phase, what we are doing in deployment phase, we are giving that application for the user if we have negligible defects or no defects in our application. Okay, and if that food delivery app, uh, in that food delivery app, if end user finds any defect regarding any functionality, so they will report to the client and client will ask us to fix that defect. So that is came under the maintenance, and on the high priority we will fix that defect, making some patch deployments, making patch testing, regression testing, retesting, and deploy the fix to the client in the maintenance project. Okay, so that's all about our today's lecture. We have completed whole the SDLC process, including each of the phase from the designing to the maintenance. We have covered everything in details, just on the high level. Okay. So if you are thinking about the what is retesting, what is regression testing, what is a developer doing in implementation, so that phases we will cover in our upcoming lecture. So it is the main motive of this SDLC lecture is you can understand how exactly the software development processes happen in the IT industry. Okay. So that's all about today's lecture. In next lecture, we will cover STLC, means exactly what happened in software testing lifecycle. So you have seen that whole process for the application from its initial requirement gathering to its end. So we have same structure for our testing lifecycle. So that we will cover it under our next lecture. So in that we will learn how to prepare test cases, how to execute test cases. So like that content we will provide in our upcoming lecture. Till the time, Subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share to your friend circle, and so that it will give us some motivation to make more and more content useful for you. So all the best and stay tuned. We will meet in our next video on SDLC. So bye bye.